So welcome, friends, to Tanked Up, the podcast about video games and beer. It's episode 297. I'm one of your hosts, Ben, here with Lucy.
Hello, Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year. Yes.
Thank you.
And as the first episode, I was going to say 2021, but it's not 2021 anymore, it's 2022 now. And almost starting our year as we finished it with Adam.
Hello. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year and welcome back. For us, you were on the last episode, but for the listeners, there's a little long episode in between.
Just a small episode.
Just a small one. You know, we chat about a couple of things. You know, some games from last year, not many. But as we do, I think as we have done almost every year we've been going for the last 6 years, or maybe first episode of the year for the last 6 years, we have a chat about things we're looking forward to for the coming year, games we're looking forward to that may or may not come out in this coming year. I think with COVID, everything is up in the air unless it's actually been released. You never know at the moment. But we'll be talking about other stuff, things that we've been playing, things we've been watching, things we've been doing, and we're going to be opening some beers. So we'll do that first. Lucy, are you drinking this week? What have you got?
I am. I'm drinking a beer I got for Christmas from one of my aunts. It is from Lymestone Brewery, who I haven't had before.
No, I haven't.
No, they are up in Staffordshire. Gives a little bit of background on the bottle. Lymestone Brewery, as is a small independent brewery in Stone, Staffordshire, a town with a long and proud history of brewing proper beer. The Lymestone brewer uses only the finest ingredients and his years of experience to present this beer for your enjoyment. This particular one, because I think it was 3 IPAs that I got in the pack, or just, normal pales or ales and stuff like that. So this one is 4.2%, and it's brewed with English traditional hoppy ale. That's what it is, and it's brewed with Maris Otter malt and Olicana hops.
Okay.
Olicana hops. That must be a British one I've never heard of. So yeah, interesting. But yeah, big 500
nice
ml bottle, which is always nice.
Perfect.
But yeah,
Good.
This is the new one for me, so interested to try it out.
Excellent. I am staying very local this week. First, going with a new Amber Ale from White Russian Nitro called Murmurations. I know, Lucy, both of us had, but you had on the podcast the the bready Amber Ale, didn't you? At some point in the last couple of months, towards the end of last year. So I think this is just the next one in the series from them. It is 4.8%. It says a fresh, vibrant amber ale. Plentiful rye malts provide a complex, peppery base that's adorned beautifully by the floral, tropical flavours of Amarillo hops. One of our favourite varieties. So it's got... Does it tell me all the rest of the bits? I don't think it does. I think it's got me allergens, but it just tells me in the flavour text Amarillo hops. Don't know if there's anything else in there, but we shall see. Hopefully, unlike I think the last episode where beer went everywhere on our first beers and just almost all of us spilled everywhere, hopefully we'll be a little more delicate this week. And before we come back to your beer, Lucy, Adam, what are you drinking this evening? You on the old Pepsi?
Yeah, just on the Pepsi as usual.
Nice.
Nothing exciting to report.
Not chasing it down with anything this week on a random middle of the week school night.
No, I'm avoiding that because I need to keep myself awake. I'm very tired.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us, because we know you tagged in at the last second, because I don't know if we mentioned that Aadil's in Canada. Did we mention that Aadil's in Canada? I don't know. He's not here.
He's always in bloody Canada. He's not. He's barely there at all. I'm very, very glad he's able to go back and see his family. Lucy, we'll come back round to you then for Limestone.
Yeah.
Wow, that's clear.
Yeah, clear as day. It's completely transparent. Yeah, it's got a very, very thin white head, but it is very, I guess, copper amber.
Mm-hmm.
Coloured, but yeah, like a bit of carbonation running up the glass right now. But yeah, that head just dissipated so quickly.
Mm.
But yeah, you can smell the English hops on this and the English malt. So yeah, very, very malty, like bready,
Mm-hmm.
slight caramel, very Moorish kind of aroma to it.
They called it.
Yeah.
Was it a hoppy traditional ale?
I believe they did. You have a better memory than me. Yeah, traditional hoppy ale.
Nice. So hopefully it's whilst it's got a foot in a little bit more of a traditional beer, hopefully it does pack a bit of a punch.
Yeah. It does have some hops in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at it, you just think, oh yeah, that's just like traditional English ale. It's going to be boring. It's going to be flat. It's going to be something that you get down at the pub. The older pub, and it's like, yeah, but no, definitely some hops in there.
Nice.
Giving it a slight bit of citrusiness. Yeah, citrus notes, but bit lemony. Also smells a bit lemony on the aroma.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's more malt forward than anything else.
Even with it being a hoppy ale.
Yeah. I mean, the hops are there. You can tell they're there. They give a bit of freshness. I think the bitterness, purely just the bitterness, that you can tell there's like hops in this, because it is, leaning over to the more bitter side. If you're not a fan of more bitter beers, then this might be edging a bit too close to the dark side for you. But yeah, it's nice, and it doesn't have that like kind of, it's very malt forward, but it doesn't have that, kind of metallic, tinny kind of taste to it. It feels fresh. It feels, and that's owing to the hops as well. And it's like it feels fresh. It's very refreshing. It's very crisp. Even though, not too much carbonation going, in the glass at this point, it's still very crisp and refreshing.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's really easy. It's really smooth. I mean, for someone, as I say, someone who you don't like your bitter beers, you'd probably be supping on it slowly. But for me, who likes bitterness and isn't afraid of more, slightly more bitter beers, it's really easy drinking. Like, it's 500 ml, and I was like, oh, this might last me for the night, but actually, might have to get the second beer in the fridge. But yeah, it's nice. I mean, you look at it and you just think, oh god, it's not going to be a Marston's Hobgoblin, is it? And it's like, not at all. It's really good. It's like, I think this is the year, like, our friend Points of Brew, he was saying how he's very into his American beers at the moment, and it's like, yeah, that was me last year, but I think, towards the end of last year, I was like, I'm kind of in the mood for just like some traditional English beers. I think I've gone completely full circle.
Like the winter,
I'm gonna end up drinking
kicks
Brewdog.
in. It's jeez, you're not going that far. You're not going that far. We won't let you, Lucy. But yeah, the winter kicks in. It gets a little bit colder in the UK, and sort of. I know where a lot of these, bigger and sort of more modern US breweries, being in like New York. And the state of, and around that kind of area, again, they get a similar kind of climate to the UK, so yeah, it does get very cold in those sorts of places. Yeah. But something does cool to you, doesn't it? Here, you go into a pub, and there is something about not a warm beer by any stretch, but something that is that little bit lighter, that does just have a little less carbonation, a little more of a delicate flavour to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like this is, it kind of reminds me of like, it tastes like apples. I don't know if it's like not in a. I think I had a beer that genuinely had apples a few
Yes.
weeks ago, and
Yeah.
I didn't like it. But this feels like you're walking through like a fresh orchard, and it's like they've just picked apples off the tree and just dunked it in there. Bit of flavour. It just feels so fresh, and yeah, that's hard to get. But yeah, it's the year of English beer, I guess, for me.
That's fair. That's fair.
Traditional English beer.
I'm probably not that far off with this Wiper and True being an amber ale. I know with it being Wiper and True, I imagine it's going to be maybe a little bit more of a modern take on an amber ale. But it's amber. It's a lovely amber colour. It's a little murky. You can sort of see my finger in the pond underneath the murk, just there. But it had a huge head. You know, I was sort of half the glass when I poured it in, but that dissipated quite quickly. It left something quite nice, little white, slight hint of brown to the head as well. But that nose is lovely. It's big. It's very sweet. You can already get that rye coming in on that nose, and that kind of dominates. It gives this slight smoky flavour to it as well.
Yeah, I found like, you know, when I was shopping around for like beers that I was going to have over Christmas, that I was just looking at, you know, I want some more traditional styles. I'm sick of just IPA and NEIPA, like, you know, amber ales, like blonde ales, you know, traditional English ales. It's like, yeah, I fully swung back around now.
Yeah. Well, I think, as I mentioned, because was it in the last, or not the last episode, but the one before that, I drank a couple of beers from Good Chemistry and picked up a big box from them to drink kind of over the Christmas period with my mum's partner, who very much leans into his more traditional ales. You know, I have absolutely no doubt the beer you've got now would be, you know, exactly for him. But a lot of the Good Chemistry beers he absolutely nailed and just really liked. You know, we shared a lot of them, and there was a lot of pales, a lot of IPAs, but again, Good Chemistry lean more into that sort of slightly more trad side, but very modern takes on more traditional sort of styles. Definitely,
it's absolutely possible for you know, all these brewers, because you know they're so talented in what they do. That they can lean into that more. So
absolutely,
hopefully there's just a general shift in that direction. Like, you know, maybe we should be looking at, you know, more sustainable ways, especially for like Brexit and, you know, I mean, COVID's just messed up everything. Just to lean into more, you know, English hops and, you know, who knows.
So this Wiper and True, it's really good. It does instantly have that little floral note coming. I think it's almost what I was getting off the nose. That sweetness has maybe a hint of bitterness, which was giving me that sort of smokiness. But I think it's that floral initial flavour to it, which is kind of mixed in that nose there somewhere as well, which is kind of coming through slightly sort of perfumed. It does have a little bit of orange to that taste as well. And I know it said sort of tropical flavours, but getting sort of a lot of orange, a lot of citrus from this as well. Maybe some, it's not quite mango, it's something a little bit duller and not quite as sweet as mango, but there is something just in there as well, backing up that sort of that orange, that peppery floral base that it's got to it. But those rye malts definitely give it that kind of slightly smoky sweetness as well, which leans then into a bitterness towards the end.
Nice.
It's not big. It's not a big bitter beer. It's only 4.8% as well on the ABV. So everything in this is quite light, but it's all very easy, very manageable. You know, this isn't one where you sup it and it's so bitter you kind of sit there and think, "Oh, I'll give this some time," even if it dries you out and that bitterness lingers. This is nice and soft. It's very, very easy. Very easy just to go back into it straight away and refresh completely. Even though this isn't a dry beer, it does just calls to me to just keep drinking it. So I think we're going to be.
Well, that's what White Russian do so well. They just make things have so much depth.
Yeah, absolutely.
With so much subtlety at the same time. It's just such a good balance, and yeah, like I remember like years ago when it's like, you know, when we used to go to, you know, my beer shop, my regular. I was like, oh, I'm sick of White Russian or something else. You know, I'm sick of Colonel. They're always here, and it's like, what did that last time when I went to the beer shop buy? Yeah, I'm gonna pick up some White Russian and pick up, you know, some Colonel. It's just like, yeah, they just do simple things and do it so well. They do, just immaculately. So yeah. Just roll
back
round to it. Where have the rye
beers
gone? Yeah.
I don't know. We used to get loads of red rye sort of ales and things as well. Missed all of those in the autumn and the early winter when you sort of expect to see them. Maybe we're just not looking in the right places, Lucy.
Maybe
they're out there.
Quite possibly.
I mean, listener, if you've been drinking red rye ales or any rye ales, let us know. Let us know what you've been drinking, and we can see if we can get some as well, which would be really good.
Because old Lymestone here have been brewing since 2008, so first time I've even heard of them. So yeah, it's just me. I'm looking in the wrong places. I was looking in America at other half.
Containers.
Just full of beer. That's it. It's the only thing being shipped out at the moment. But it probably isn't, to be fair. Good. Let's enjoy these beers and let's kick into what we've been playing over the last sort of few weeks. Adam, as you've, again, you know, you sit very patiently whilst we're sat here chatting about...
I was wondering if he was asleep, and I was like, should I, like, message him?
I was very professionally taking that opportunity to have a look through the Wikipedia for what games are coming out this year. So I could take a note of some of them.
Perfect, good.
So I should have prepared earlier and... just sat and did nothing.
That's all right. That's fine. That's like it's how we like it here. We fly by the seat of our pants every single episode.
Yeah. Ad-lib. Yeah.
Did anyone play a game? Yeah, 20 minutes ago. Let's talk about that.
I launched it on Steam and there I played it. Yeah.
So over Christmas and New Year, I went back to playing a bit of Elite Dangerous for a wee
while. Oh yeah.
Just been milling about in that game pretty much. No, not really done anything in particular, but apart from kind of exploring about and doing some like you can get like passenger missions that take you out to, you know, like sightseeing spots in the, you know, in the galaxy.
Sightseeing spots.
Yeah, so some of them are like just interesting looking like systems, like you know, like binary systems with 2 stars and some stuff like that. And some of them are tied to like the history within the universe of events. So you go to places where, and this is the place where this happened, or the treaty was signed here and it meant this, or you know, that sort of stuff.
Like points of interest and vistas and things that they put some extra time into, kind of the aesthetic and visuals of, perhaps.
Yeah, some of them not so much, but some of them definitely.
Well, not everything is a work of art, is it?
But it's one of those. Some of them are quite well known, like by people who play that they come across them. Like there's one where you actually see the planet orbiting round. It's the moon orbiting round one of the planets, and it goes like that.
Yeah.
You know, in front of you. Normally, it's very slow, and like as you return to systems over time, you realise obviously that everything moves round and stuff. But this one you can actually sit and watch go round and round very quickly because it orbits so fast.
The waves on the planet just like fucking massive everywhere. Just...
it's a fascinating game, Elite Dangerous. Like I remember when you came on, Adam. Was it last year? It might have been even earlier. I was just fascinated by it, and like it's like the Outer Wilds but bigger.
Yeah, it's 1-to-1 scale. Milky Way. So there's over 1 billion star systems in it. I think that last year, the last figure they put out for system visited is like 5% or something like that. It's ridiculously awful.
Jeez.
And you know they feed like real scientific data into it and all that to make it as kind of, obviously with some tweaks here and there for for the sake of the stuff that's going on in the game, but it does crop up occasionally, like there was the news story ages ago about like the Trappist system. I can't remember why it came up, but
the beers, liver beers.
Are there monks in space brewing galactic beers? I need to play this.
My memory's so terrible. I can't remember why it came up, but they discovered like a load of like exoplanets in that system in the real world, and they looked and checked in the game, and it had basically the same layout because the model had predicted it so well.
That's nuts.
So all they had to really do was go in and change the names to update it to like the ones that are here now.
Is Jeff Bezos in this game with his spaceship?
His giant cock just flying up into space.
He is a giant cock.
Yeah.
He looks like a giant cock.
No, fortunately, it's far enough away that even he is dead. long dead.
Oh, that's good. I might need to play this game. Sounds like a nice
it's the year
place.
3308, I want to say, in the game.
Have you
like a better time?
Have you lent much more into the like the extra stuff that came out with Odyssey?
Not a huge amount, just because well, as I said, I was kind of doing just the passenger missions to mill about, so I didn't really require much of that stuff. But I did stop in a few places just to have a wee wander about, and certainly in the parts that I played, you can tell that the updates have made a difference. Since it came out in January last year, it's nearly a year. It's had like 9 big updates since then. So you can see there's definitely been plenty of improvement made in that front compared to where it started off. So I probably should have actually tried some of the new stuff, but it's quite typical that I just kind of go back and go, I'll just go back and do the thing I usually do.
Yeah, I imagine that's the same for lots of people who play, these kind of bigger games or MMOs and things. There's loads of patches, loads of stuff that goes on. And you're like, just go and do some fishing. Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah,
just fish for a bit.
There are people that kind of like straight up role play in it as like truckers and stuff and do all that kind of thing. There's like communities in the game like groups like they're called the fuel rats. So you can get yourself stuck in places where you can't refuel because there's no systems to land in. If you don't have one of a fuel scoop attached to your ship, and then you won't be able to jump anywhere because you've run out of fuel, and they'll come rescue you. You can actually contact them in the real world and have them come get you, and then
that's nuts.
And save you. And the fact that the game sort of like fully supports that and kind of leans into it a little bit really helps. Yeah, that's just a bunch of players deciding that they were fed up being stuck in the middle of nowhere. And deciding to kind of organise and offer up a service to people who do end up
unionise.
Yeah, because when I did that back when I started playing when it first launched, you just had to self-destruct and suck it up because there was nothing you could do.
And now it's Futurama. You're a space trucker.
Yeah, and now you can call people to come save you, like the AA, but for space. Screw it.
What a wonderful game.
Nice. Have you played much else over the winter break?
That's been the majority of it.
Yeah.
Boot that up and spend probably twice as long as I planned playing it, because that's just what happens. And then turn it off and do something else. But yeah, no, so that's kind of all I've really played since I was last on.
Yeah.
before Christmas.
Yeah, that's fair. The winter sort of break is an odd kind of time these days. You know, as a kid, you kind of just have a couple of weeks off school and just play everything. Just sit around like, right, you may have got a game for Christmas or as a gift or something like that, and it's like, right, we'll play that, and then we'll play this, and then we'll do this, and then and just bounce all over the place. And I've found, actually, I've not put a huge amount of time into gaming over the last couple of weeks because there's so much other stuff to do. Again, I kind of like played a little bit of a couple of games, one of which was Blasphemous, which I know, Lucy, you've also played. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't. This is completely irrespective of you playing it. I had no idea that you were playing. I didn't even know that you had bought it when you were, menahing over whether you should buy it or not. So, but yeah, I was like, I was playing another game that I got a code for and bounced off it pretty quick, and then I played another game that I got a code for and adored it, and that got me back into like playing the Switch because I'm kind of sick of that console. It's so like slow and old now. But and yeah, I picked up Blasphemous because I bought that on sale earlier this year. How come no one told me it's Castlevania? Like, straight up. I mean, I knew of it and a little bit about it, but I didn't know it was so Castlevania to a T. And I'm loving it. It's like all I want to play now. So, how are you getting on with it?
I'm enjoying it. I was just going back to see when it came out. 2019. This release, September 2019, so it's 2 and a bit kind of years old now. I know the version that I picked up is kind of not necessarily a complete version, but it's also they've also brought out loads of free DLC for it. So I think the version, picking it up now, you will get everything that the game has to offer you. But I'm enjoying it. It's hard in certain places, and it's one of those kind of Metroidvania games where it's not about exact precision, but it's very easy to fall foul of the environment or enemies if you're not paying attention.
It's got the Castlevania bullshit where something will knock you into a pit of spikes, and I love it.
Kind of away from the sort of the play side of it, I'm loving the tone and the aesthetic. Like, it's super religious. It is like insanely so, and
it's so hilarious because I'm playing it on Switch, and I remember the time where it was like, we're Nintendo, we don't allow religious, religious symbolism on our platform, and it's like, yes, you do. Now you do, especially.
Just not in our first party games.
It's just hilarious how we've come full circle. Because this is very blasphemous.
Oh, absolutely! It does feel like an early Steam game. That would be kind of the only place it is. But I'm playing on PS4. Blasphemous is available on pretty much everything. I don't know if there's a mobile version. There might be, but it's kind of it really leans into those kind of. And I would imagine the team, again, it's a Spanish team, I think.
Yeah, because they had the games I played from them before were like point and click, pixel art point and click adventure games, and that was all set around like this very weird religious occultist, kind of mystery. So it was like when I realized it was the same developer, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Just like they were already heading in that direction.
It's all like the brutal and darker side of stuff. So all of the enemies are kind of, one of the early enemies is this kind of woman with holding a stone cross, which she'll try and heave at you to smash you. And then you go along, there's just like a cardinal on a floating chair who'll try and hit you, stab you with a big spear, and absolutely ridiculous kind of iconography in a lot of the, even just the environments and the backgrounds, let alone the things that you come across. This woman, at one point I think I upgraded my health because I found this woman who was just floating in this room who had 6 swords stabbed at her, and she's like, here, have a sword. It's like, yeah, my health's increased. Brilliant. It really leans into all of this, and one of the things that really sells that is what at first sounds like incredibly bad voice acting, but is
I changed it to Spanish.
Oh, did you? Oh, I should do that.
Because I remember reading an article where someone said just put it in Spanish, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, I bet that sounds so much better. But
it sounds incredible.
It's not necessarily, and it's not necessarily the English voice acting is poor. It's that they've tried to record it in a way which makes it sound not even throwback to sort of the retro aesthetic that it's got. It's kind of like someone's like, oh no, I'm speaking from all the way over, like fucking miles away, talking to you from miles away, and everyone's all very softly spoken, and it's like, hello, penitent one, I'm glad you've taken this stick out of my arse.
Change it to Spanish,
because they're like, a few times.
Los palabras, and they're like,
that's what I want. That's what I want. I want like the brutal fucking,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, change it to Spanish, because I remember reading an article, I think it was Patrick Klepek from Vice, Waypoint, ages ago, where I know that he really liked the game, and I think he interviewed the developers just about the voice acting and just like how, it just makes more sense in the context of like, the, very Spanish-inspired, like, kind of that region, like religious, ceremonies and processions. Like, it's like whenever I watch, like, I don't know, a cooking show and they go over to Spain and it's like around Easter and they have like this massive ceremony, and you're like, there's some weird, don't want to be offensive, but it's like there's some weird stuff going on here. It's like, barbs around people's heads and stuff like this, and it's just, I mean, religion is weird anyway, let's be honest. Like, yeah, I mean, you read the Bible and it's just like, it's gnarly, and it's just like, there's people stoning each other in lions' dens, and it's like, and it's just, and you just look at this stuff and it's just like, what is all this imagery? There's so many, I mean, things were dark back then. It's like, a lot of dark things happen to people, a lot of bad things happen to people. It's like, how can we, justify it? How can we make sense of it? And it's like, yes, people created these stories, and it's like, okay, this is why this bad thing, in any mythology, Greek mythology, Norse mythology, whatever, and it's like, you read the lore in this game and it's just like, I don't know what's happening or going on, or how, like, I'm not a religious person, I'm not Catholic, and it's like, I don't know what this means, and it's like, I'm not Catholic from that region, but it's like still so interesting to read. So I can only imagine if you're from, like, I don't know where this game was developed, but it's like, if you're from that region and like deeply religious, it must be like such a good trip just to like see all this and just like have a different, very blasphemous and sacrilegious take on all of it. But yeah, it's fascinating. I love that aspect of it, how it's just weird and dark.
Completely. It's one of those games, I think, which you can in terms of kind of like how it tells its story and that sort of stuff, I would imagine that tons of people have lent into being like, oh, it's like Dark Souls. I mean, yeah, sort of, but I love that you can kind of look at the lore of all of these items and things as well, that it gives you this little snapshot of stuff, and then you can press triangle on PlayStation, it will bring up a bigger explanation about just what a collectible item is. And like the first 4 collectibles you can find as just collectibles, not stuff that you can attach to your sword or put in a rosary bead and gives you extra sort of things, but just the collectibles. Like the first 4 are just cocks, and it's just like the phallus of the graveyard keeper. I'm like, brilliant. Okay, I'm just out here collecting cocks as I walk around this like Spanish town. It does change. It suddenly becomes like a spine, or you know, like an ear or some shit like that. But yeah.
But yeah, it's wonderful in how weird it is. But yeah, this is like such a step up. This is like they were the naughty kids in church school, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
and it's just they've just leaned into it so much, and it just makes for such a unique and, you know, honestly fascinating setting. And yeah, they lean into it all the way. It's so good. But yeah, it's just pure Castlevania. Yes, it's got you know, the kind of, you know, what we think of like a Metroidvania map now, but I fully feel like, yeah, this is just like the next step on like Castlevania. It's like one of my favorite games in that style that I've played for a long time, you know.
Good. Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna see it through to the end. It's not hard, Ben.
It'll be interesting to see how quickly you get through it. I think I've uncovered like 18% of the map or 20% of the map, something like that at the moment. Has it what? Sorry.
Percentages. Has it got? Where's the percentage?
On the map, there is a percentage. I think in the top left, which I think just tells you the percentage of the map that you've uncovered. Doesn't tell you, you know, if you've collected everything or you've upgraded everything. I think it's just the map percentage.
Oh, right, okay. Let me have a look.
Whilst you look at that. Oh, you got it?
87%.
Jesus Christ, you've smashed through it.
I've been playing it like non-stop for the most part, so any spare moment I get, because yeah, I'm loving it.
Nice.
But yeah, it is hard.
Well, I found a boss.
I don't want to make you conscious.
It's when you walk into a new screen and you look at the background like, oh, good, this is a boss room, because you know just from the background that it's a little bit more not elaborate, but maybe darker than some of the other spaces. It's not a repeated pattern at the background, and you know that it's just the corridor leading up to the boss. And I'm like, cool. I haven't saved for fucking ages. I just need to run away and save, and then I'll come back. Yes. It's one of those games. Like,
you always
save
look for
as much as you can.
It's like I will say, because like a lot of Metroidvania games that I play, it's like I know where the save is. You know, I know exactly which. You look at the map and it's like, okay, the save is going to be there.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's actually like, oh, they're actually quite spaced out and stuff like that. So it's like it's been exciting, because someone who's so attuned to like the rhythm and, you know, sometimes sameness of those kinds of games, it's like it's been interesting to me. Like, oh, I don't know what's around this next corner. I don't know when the next save is, but yeah, always go for the save.
Completely. I think lots of Metroidvanias do it very well. I think Ori did this quite well, in that you're in an area and you move through the first half of it. You hit that save point. You've learnt maybe a new skill, and then the second half of it is you using that skill, or you using that skill really well to make you feel powerful. Suddenly you go into another area where you've got to fight and battle and get through it, maybe using that skill but needing something kind of else, and you do get through, and you get through about halfway, and then you get to the next save point. Blasphemous is just sort of like, oh, we'll put one there.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
What? That's fucking miles away. Fuck off. I need one here. Here.
Yeah. It is more spaced out, but yes, for someone who, for me, it's not a hard game, but I've played these games so many times. But if someone is listening, then it is hard, but it's manageable, and you know, it's a bit slow at the start, but you get so many upgrades throughout the rest of the game that, you know, I don't think you'll be, you know, bashing your head against it for a long time. Like, most of the bosses I beat less than 3 attempts on the first attempt. So it's like, if you're used to these games, it's not a massive step up, and I like that about the game. It's like, you know, I'm there to, I mean, the combat's great and the, you know, platforming's great, but a lot of it is soaking in that atmosphere, and it's like, you don't want that to grow old by virtue of, you know, smashing your head against the wall on bosses for ages. So if you played Ender Lilies, this is easier. So
nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good. You mentioned another couple of games, one of which you didn't like so much, one of which you did.
Yeah, I got a code for a game called Aspire, I had this up earlier, because I forget it. Inna's Tale, I-N-A, apostrophe S, Inna's Tale. I always thought it was Anna's, but it's Inna's Tale. But it is a 2D side-scrolling puzzle platformer. You look at the screenshots, as I did, when I was, requesting it, having my eye on this game. It's like, oh, you immediately think of Greece, which, me, Aadil, and maybe you, Ben, enjoyed as well.
Yeah.
Did you play it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like, it's very evocative of that, like this little small girl in a big, like, kind of desolate, very colourful world. Obviously, Greece, starts off in grey, but you gradually unlock a lot more colours. They turn the contrast way up on this game, however. It's very, very colourful. It isn't as like kind of muted colours like Greece is. Only problem is that it doesn't play like Greece or like any good platformer, unfortunately. It's very, I mean, this little girl, it feels like you're controlling a tank. It feels like a silverback gorilla of like 200 pounds would, just be easier to control than her. It's and I don't know if it's by design, but it's so slow and it feels like you're moving this character through molasses. It's just, and going through the game, it's just like, okay, jumping, moving boxes, there's nothing revolutionary there. And as soon as it was like, okay, I need to swing on this like chain over to the next platform, and that just felt slow and heavy, I was just like, I don't think this is the kind of control scheme that I want to play with. It's like, fair enough, I played Blasphemous. I started Blasphemous after I started this game, but that just feels so good to control. And it's like, comparatively, it's like Aspire. It just feels so heavy, so slow. It doesn't control well at all. And I've been playing it on Switch, and granted, the game is beautiful, and I think maybe that is what is just making it run so badly. It suffers from like really bad frame rate drops. I mean, at the start of the game, it does like this very, camera pans out. It's establishing shot. It wants to portray that this little girl is in this massive world, all alone. And the very start of the game, the frame rate is bad, and it's like, I understand why you do that from a stylistic point of view, and stylistic choice, and that probably any other platform, PC, console or whatever, that's probably fine and probably works very well. But on Switch, it just slows, and it's like, so immediately it doesn't give a great impression. And one of the unique things it does is it plays with light. It's got this mechanic where it's like manipulating light, putting light on different objects, and it's like, okay, to lift this gate, this light source has to be, the gate has to be in this circumference of this light source to open and stuff like that. And I was solving a puzzle moving blocks around, and don't forget, this game controls very slowly, moving these boxes around, and I was like working through the puzzle. It was like one of the first like general puzzles of the game, like where you really had to like sit and think of it and work through multiple steps. It's like, okay, this is what I'm here for. This is interesting. And then at the very end of the puzzle, it's like I moved like two crates, two boxes a bit too close to each other, and I think they like I don't know, like clashed with each other's geometry or something, or geometry of the world, and it's like one of them got stuck, and the game which is a bug, not a feature. It's a bug, and it meant that I couldn't proceed to the next place. And it's like, do I restart this checkpoint, or do I just close down the game? And I did the latter because, and it's only like a 2-hour game, and it's like, who knows? Maybe I'll go back to it because it is very pretty to look at, and it's like, even I mean, I've played some bad platformers over the year, way worse than this, and it's like, you know, possibly there's something there. It's very pretty, and I think the puzzles will get interesting. A lot of them were like, at the start of the game, chase sequence, which when you've got a character that controls as poorly as that does, like just jumping and like, oh, I didn't do this jump early enough. It wants to be twitchy, it wants to be time-based, but it just doesn't have that capability.
Okay.
And it's like, I saw my way through those, and it's like, maybe, but yeah, it's a shame. But I really haven't enjoyed it, and you know, I don't know if I'll go back to it.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
And what was the game that you did enjoy?
Yeah, because I started it right after I closed. Did I start it right after? Yeah, I think I did. I started it right after I closed Aspire. It's called Wytchwood, which is... Hey Adam, do you like fetch quests in games?
Well, my playtime in RPGs would suggest yes.
You play MMOs, Adam. You gotta love fetch quests.
The cumulative, you know, thousands of hours between them all, yeah, probably. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
I've got a game for you then. It's called Wytchwood, and it is basically Fetch Quest, the game. You play as this little witch. She wakes up in a little swamp, in a nice little hovel. Very, very nicely detailed. The art in this game is great, by the way. Just look up a screenshot. It's Wytchwood, which spelled with a Y, though, instead of the I. And you've noticed that this goat has like entered your little house and eaten the pages of your recipe book of like your witch spells. And
so you have to go search through goat poo to find them. Is that what it is?
Well, that would make for probably a better game, to be honest. Why didn't I make that? But no, sadly no. You realise that this goat is actually like this sentient being, and he says, okay, you have to track down 12 souls for me to resurrect this beauty in this shrine. It's all very sudden at the start of the game. You're like, who's this goat? What am I doing? And it's like, there's no background to it because you've literally lost your memory. So it's just like, okay, I'll go do what this goat tells me and track down these 12 souls. And the game is literally about fetching all these different items in the world to, you know, concoct all these recipes in your book. You start unlocking recipes over time because, I mean, the goat's eating everything. Like your grimoire, it's in the menu. You open up the grimoire and there's like, I don't know, say like 50 just like empty boxes in the grimoire, and it's like, okay, you know, this game is like going to be remembering all the recipes, and the witch remembers them automatically despite losing her memory. As soon as you know that, okay, I need to concoct this recipe, it appears in your grimoire. And the whole thing is going around these different environments. So there's like, I think there's 8 different biomes, and they're all pretty distinct and really well detailed. Like there's a forest, there's fields, there's a swamp, there's a mountain and stuff like that. Going around these different biomes, you know, picking up the, you know, flora and fauna of all these different environments, and concocting these recipes. And it's very much, okay, you get one quest and it's like, okay, you need to make this, let's say, trap to catch this animal. And it's like, okay, what do I need for the trap? I need some reeds, and I need some twine and I need some sticks, and it's like, okay, I go pick up all these things. It's like, okay, I make the trap, catch the animal, and it's like, okay, I've got the meat from the animal, or whatever it is, and it's like, okay, you give it to the quest giver, and it's like, okay, but in order for me to do this now, I need to go on another quest, which ties into another quest, which ties into another quest, which ties into so on and so forth. It's just like a long string. It's like if you opened it up in a Word document, it'd be like 600 quests. And they all, like, you know, a lot of them interlink, and it's like, it's not like you're doing things right after the other. You usually have 4 different souls to track down at the one time. So it's like you have different quest lines, and it's all really well mapped out in this journal that you have. So it's like, if you ever forget what you have to do, it's like, just tells you there. And it's just like, okay, I have to do this. I can do this. If I get this item, then I can, you know, complete these 2 quests, which will lead to other quests, it's just this whole branching, you know, fetch quest. You know, it's like the world's longest fetch quest, you know, in Guinness Book of Records, and it doesn't, like, evolve from that formula at all throughout the whole game. It's very much not mindless, but just like a very cozy thing where it's just like, okay, I'm going to go to this area, and I'm going to, you know, cut all these vines and stuff like this, or I'm going to go to this area and catch, you know, all these bats and make their bat wings into a stew and stuff like that. So it's that's all it is, and I can see why people would maybe grow tired of it. It's about 10 hours long, I think.
Okay.
But I never did. I was just like, okay, I need this item. Let me go back to this environment. Oh, whilst I'm here, I can go also dig up some clay or milk a cow or get some chicken eggs and stuff like that. Let me do this. It's just busy work the game, and it's fantastic.
Nice. We've had tons of these kinds of games that have sort of come out, whether it's those what was it called, like Yonder, which came out a few years ago, you know, and where they kind of just like, hey, you need to do this, hey, you need to do this, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, and it's just constant, either go here, get this, go here, do this, collect that, do this, then make this, then that leads on to this, and it's like there's something a little bit cathartic about kind of just being able to someone say, do this, and you do it, and then go, cool, yeah, now I've got to do this as well, but I'm hitting all of these little tasks, and it feels productive.
Yeah,
it's the good version of the checkboxing, as opposed to Ubisoft's version, which is terrible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It isn't just, I mean, we've all collected all the backpacks in Spider-Man, I'm sure, and got the platinum. So,
because it was fun.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, you know, the world is so rich in this, and the writing it's fantastic. It has this very, you know, Grimm's Tale kind of cautionary tales of, you know, using like fairy tale characters, like, you know, but it does an interesting and unique twist on like all of them. Like you have like, you know, Red Riding Hood, and, you know, the Big Bad Wolf, and the Big Bad Wolf is basically a sex pest, and or like the Three Little Pigs, and the Three Little Pigs are all slave drivers, and it's just like it does these really interesting takes on the characters, and it's just written so well.
Nice, and
it's beautiful to look at as well. The music's pretty good.
I went in to have a look at what the developer had put together previously. Alien Trap.
Yeah,
it's by, and I didn't recognize any of the games until I got all the way down to Apotheon, which was back in 2015. That's a fantastic game.
Yeah, I thought I was the only one. Oh, Ben,
no,
we are kindred spirits, aren't we?
Apotheon's really good.
Yeah,
I almost platinumed that game. Apart from there was one trophy where you had to use every weapon, and I missed one. And the only place you could get it was right before the final boss. I'm like, I'm not playing that game again.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got several games. You know, they look like they put out a game every sort of few years. A couple of things. You know, the Wytchwood looks like it's been maybe their main focus for the last 3 or 4 years.
Okay. Yeah, it's really good.
It looks beautiful.
It's so detailed and like really really nice looking game. But yeah, that's Wytchwood. I really enjoyed it. As I say, like I guess your mileage will vary on how quick you get tired of just that same formula. Saying fetch quest is very, you know, it's got a bad connotation, but this game its core design is around that like kind of thing, and that's why it works, and that's why it's really good. Yeah,
nice.
Really enjoyed that.
Good. Before we move on, we've chatted, Lucy, you and I a bit about Blasphemous, and you've played Aspire and Wytchwood. Adam, do any of those appeal to you?
I probably play Wytchwood. And that's one of those that, yeah, you can get tired of it, but if the characters in the world hook you in, then that's more than enough to carry you through it.
Yeah.
Which is very similar,
like the
actually,
Witcher 3, you know, absolutely.
Or even like Spider-Man, like I 100%ed that game twice. because because it's great fun to just swing about and punch people in that game. You know, in the character, you know, for all it's very much built on that Ubisoft style that's very tired and very familiar. I didn't have a problem with it in that game because they don't shovel too much in it. And
yeah, it was like
great fun to do all of the stuff that they did have there. So
in a way, it
achieves that, then that would be the same.
It was like a game from the 360 era, for better and worse. Spider-Man, that this is, because it was so. It was a bit, you know, rote, wasn't it? Like the open world, but it's like that is way better than an open world, which is conversely just way too bloated, like something like Assassin's Creed. You know, that's why I think, you know, 100%. I think 100% of the DLC as well is Spider-Man as well. So,
nice.
Yeah. It felt more contained, and yes, it was very fun to swing around.
It gives you just enough that there's enough grounding for everything that, you know, it gives you a wee tidbit, whether it's like the backpack having like wee bits of world building of like his past, because he's obviously an experienced Spider-Man, so they're giving you wee tidbits of, oh, that's one of the wee devices I made to help do this, or this is from the restaurant where I had to run away and leave Mary Jane behind, or whatever. You know, those kind of wee tidbits, or the combat ones that help you, you know, develop your skill set by giving you the actual challenges to do, or the wee Harry Osborn ones to showcase the fact that he's smart. You know,
I'm so angry they Tom Holland that character, just destroyed his face. That's pissed me off,
I still don't like it.
You know what? I don't want to play the second one.
It'd be interesting to see what he looks like in the second one. We'll see. Does it
give him a beard, and he won't look like Tom Holland anymore? Because
does he
I don't
kick
think Tom Holland has the ability to grow a beard because he's 12, and he will forever be 12. So,
does it kick in? Does the new one kick in straight after
just put the
Miles Morales, or have we then got, you know, as
the
we
Nathan Drake model?
No, but that's the Nathan Drake. In the next Nathan Drake, they'll make it Tom Holland, won't they? They'll go back to the first Uncharted game and they'll put Tom Holland in as Nathan Drake. Every Sony property game will Aloy, Horizon 3, just Tom Holland in it. It's fine.
This is where I'm really glad that PlayStation as a division clearly holds all the sway in Sony, because it's the only one that's made money consistently for all these years, like, and really bailed the company out when it looked like it was teetering on the edge of just going completely under. So they won't be able to do that because the PlayStation execs will be like, you know, get abused. Well, you just make movies. What do you know? Get lost. I'm sorry. How much money did you make? We can do that in a couple of weeks. Get lost.
They've thrown all their money into electric cars now as well.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, Sony are jumping into the electric car market too. CES has been wild.
Walkmans, for God's sake, business is there.
Are they making the whole cars, or are they just putting the CD player in? Remember when we made these?
Thousands of Discmans that just sat in a warehouse they had to do something with from like 20 years ago.
This warehouse nearly bankrupted the company. Now it can save us all.
I still have CDs. Yeah.
Yeah, my car still has a CD player. It's not a Sony one. I don't think. But
And the
it has
PlayStation,
one.
like, what if the PlayStation 5 can even play music off a CD?
Oh, I fucking doubt it.
Yeah.
They're
Let's
like,
get the PS2
strip
out,
out,
then.
strip out. Can it play games? Yes. Can it do anything else? No. Strip it all out.
It can play Blu-rays.
Yeah, true.
Can they? I know it was the
Yeah.
Pro that couldn't. was
Could it not?
No,
No,
they couldn't do 4K Blu-rays, but the
It's a one
PS5
Ah,
can.
right.
But the regular Blu-rays they all can.
Yeah.
Or, well, the
good.
PS4 and 5.
Yeah. They're so useless, these sort of new consoles. It's like I have to install Blu-ray player onto my Xbox, and I'm just like,
What?
holy crap. You have to download an app to play a
Oh, of course.
DVD.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Everything has to have an app. You're like,
Yeah.
remember when this just worked?
Worked. Yeah,
It was just a thing that happened.
it's just like you're a Blu-ray, just play it. Why do I need to download an app?
It's like when
You have the capability. You don't need anything. You don't need an app to tell
and
you
then-
that you can
and
play.
Do you know what happens then? You finally install the app, you put the DVD in, and it goes, requires update.
Yeah,
And you're like,
been there, mate. Been there.
Install this DVD onto your hard drive. Like, no, thank you. That's not why I've come here. Should we drink some more beers? We'll open up some more beers.
Yeah, I'll go
Lucy,
get
you
my.
said you had to go and get yours. I will open then whilst you're
You
going
go
for a little wander. I'm going to open the Arbor GNEIPA, which is a ginger New England IPA. It's a beer with ginger in it. 6%. Brewed with all American hops and a judicious addition of a root ginger. That's it. That's all I get from Arbor. They don't tell me anything else.
oh, it's
Malt-
all England, but with American hops.
No, New England.
Oh, New England, sorry. I was like, that makes no sense. Yeah, no, that makes more sense.
I mean, it's kind of the color of ginger, I suppose. Is that what you would call it? Like a brown, orangey color. It's not the most inviting color of beer.
It looks
can.
like beige that's been on the wall for a decade too long.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit kind of, I don't know, just doesn't feel that inviting as a can. I will crack it open though. And it is a big boy. Obviously, Arbor come in big pint cans. So, I don't know. No, I don't think I've ever had a beer with ginger as sort of the main flavour.
The headline act.
Yes, if it is in this, whether I find it just provides a little bit more bitterness, who knows? We will see. Lucy, what are you drinking now you're back?
I am drinking a beer from Left Handed Brewing, who I always get confused with Left Hand Giant. Yeah, that's this is a White Russian Nitro, which is a white stout with coffee and vanilla added.
Amazing.
Oh boy. It is a super smooth and decadent 8.9%.
Nice.
20 IBUs. Anything else? Decadent, yeah. I like our decadence.
We do.
Let me see. Ingredients: Rocky Mountain water, malted barley, oats, lactose, coffee, hops. No mention of which hops. Vanilla and yeast. Yeah, brewed in Colorado, USA.
Nice.
Yeah, I like White Russians, the cocktails.
Mhm.
Haven't had one in ages, but yeah. Always, if I have to go for a cocktail where I'm not just trying to get absolutely wasted and go for like a Long Island iced tea, I'm like, yeah, white Russian or Black Russian. So.
I do remember a friend and previous guest of the podcast, Dave.
I'm gonna go
Townsley.
open this sink. So
Oh, that's a good idea.
because it just hissed at me in a very like a snake. So I'll be back in a second.
Dave Townsley, one of the Pillbug developers, he loves a White Russian. I always remember when we used to go out, loved a White Russian. Random anecdote for you there. This ginger beer, it does have a little bit of ginger on the nose. I mean, it smells like a ginger biscuit, like a ginger nut biscuit. It's got that bit of ginger to it, but it's also got that kind of like biscuity sweetness in there as well. You know, that little sort of sweet hit. Maybe kind of like maybe a bit more ginger than a ginger biscuit as well. You know, like a ginger biscuit smells a bit sweet, and then when you bite into it, you get a big kind of burst of ginger. The beer smells a little bit more ginger, perhaps. Now I've had a little bit of time to stick my nose over it, but it was, you know, it's hazy. It's very light and straw. The head was, you can't quite see there, but it was incredibly white, very very foamy. Very frothy. I mean, this is ginger. It is the big kind of flavour coming through. Whilst that nose has a little bit of sweetness, it's a little bit maybe biscuity on there. You don't get a huge amount of that in the flavour. That ginger kicks in sort of straight away. When is this brewed or
Ginger NEIPA?
Yes.
I heard you throw went GNEIPA. Okay.
GNEIPA.
Yeah.
I assume it's a silent G. But yes, a ginger New England IPA. It's very soft, as you would kind of expect with a NEIPA. But there's not a huge amount to it. You're getting that ginger, and that kind of is dominating everything. So it sort of comes in, you know, the ginger comes in straight away. And whilst the kind of the ginger fades, you're left with the kind of top of the mouth, back of the tongue kind of slight heat that you get from ginger. So the flavour kind of fades quite quickly, but it's left and it sort of sours a little bit at the back of the mouth and dries out really, really quickly. And apart from that, I can't get a huge amount more from this.
Okay.
That ginger really does sort of like dominates the flavour.
It's strong ginger. So
it is. It's really strong. Yeah. There's maybe a little bit of a weak orange squash in the background as well. You know, a slightly watery orange squash kind of flavour. You know, sometimes when we've had a few beers and it says it's like a blood orange beer or it's this, and it actually comes across a bit more like weak orange squash. This feels like it, once the ginger has started to fade, that is the lasting flavour. Not the feel, because you have that heat in the back of the mouth and stuff, but the flavour that's left is maybe just a little bit like, and kind of, you know, you've gone, oh, I haven't put enough squash in my glass. I better go back and put some more in. I've used single strength. I've not used the old double strength squash.
This may be weird, but I like it when it's as weak as possible, where you can barely even tell. It's
just like a glass of water with a drop of squash in it.
Yeah. But I'm very strange.
Mate, I'm the opposite.
This is how much I don't like sweet things.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I get a pipette and just squeeze it into my glass. Yeah.
No, I'm the opposite. If I'm gonna have a squash, if I'm gonna have an orange squash, I want a good, big flavoured orange squash. If I'm gonna drink water, just drink water.
Yeah, you want at least one whole orange per glass.
Don't squeeze it in. Just put the orange in the glass and fill it with water around it. That's all
I'm just like, because I usually just drink water anyway, but it's just like, I may want a little bit of, pizzazz.
You're one
if
of
I'm
these
feeling
people.
risque,
You're one of these people that
you
those
know.
flavoured waters were, bottled flavoured waters were kind of
Oh,
pushed towards, where it's just
No.
water.
I hate those because those are just like too weak. It's just like because they're usually flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like I don't like bottled water anyway. I like my good old Birmingham water.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Nice.
Straight from the canal.
Yes. That's what I think I'm basically a mutant. Nothing can kill me because I drink canal water. Yeah.
We'll come to you, Lucy, then for the White Russian Nitro.
Yeah. Oh, it's quite orangey. No head whatsoever. But yeah, it's very thick, very murky, basically opaque. Smell-wise, definitely getting that coffee. It reminds me of the Siren Craft brews that they do every now and then with the coffee. I think it's called. I think the last time they did it was called Project Barista or whatever.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Like the coffee nitro stouts that they do or whatever.
Like the
think the one
affogato sort of.
Yeah, I was about to say the one that I really like from them is the affogato, and this reminds me. The smell reminds me of that. Yeah, but yeah, mostly just getting coffee, not really getting any of that vanilla. But we'll see if it's in the taste. Oh, it's really thin.
Okay.
In a way I wasn't expecting. I thought it'd have a bit more to it, a bit more viscosity, a bit more heft to it. It's really thin. It's slightly. In fact, it's slightly oily though, which is the problem. If it was just like thin, very clean finish, that would be fine. But this sort of got slightly licoricey, like slightly slick kind of finish to it, which I'm not a big fan of.
Slick is a good word. Maybe not for a beer though. Slightly
cloying at the end.
Okay.
Like you've got like, I don't know, some like like if you like rubbed a hop and you just like got that slight stickiness from it at the end. So it tastes on like your taste buds, which is not too pleasant, but taste wise, definitely getting the vanilla more. Yeah, definitely getting like that sweet vanilla in it, but it feels like the coffee's just gone, like like getting so much of it on the nose, but in the flavour, I'm not. I'll go in for another sip, but it's like the coffee just like no, we're out.
Do you think that's something to do with the viscosity of the beer? Like it is a little bit too thin, so you lose those kind of roasted sort of coffee notes with that.
Possibly. I don't know. It's a strange one, this, because I think the fact that there's zero carbonation really is a detriment to the beer, because it's like I want something with that slick and oiliness, and it's just like very flat as well. It feels like there's nothing elevating it. There's nothing. It just feels like it feels like they had a White Russian, and when you have like a cocktail and it's been sitting on the side and the glass is like the ice is melted into it, and it loses that concentration, it loses that flavour. That's what this feels like you've had a cocktail, it's just sat in slightly warm bar for too long. It's really disappointing.
Oh no.
Yeah. I don't know, because the can, maybe it didn't survive the trip good enough. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, because when I started opening the can, it that's why I said I'm going to open it over the thing, because it sounded like a snake. It was the loudest hiss I've ever had. Starting to open a beer can. So maybe, it's still drinkable and it doesn't feel like there's anything particularly off about it. Maybe it's just not as fresh as, you know, it could be and should be when you're drinking it. So maybe that's what it is. And yeah, maybe like whatever coffee beans or whatever have just lost their flavour on the way over.
Does it give you a brewed date?
That's what I was trying to look for, but I don't know if I can see one. It's on the bottom. Okay, it's best by February, so it's probably quite old at this point.
Looking at about a year old, maybe.
Yeah. So probably didn't survive the trip. Probably not as fresh as it could be. And I think the only thing that's like making it taste okay now is that Rocky Mountain water that's in it. I think that has preserved it. Because it's a shame because I could imagine just such a clean beer. It'd probably be way more carbonated several months ago. Probably would have had more of those flavors. Probably wouldn't have this kind of like watered down, very underwhelming flavor. So I won't exactly give this. I'm not judging it on this experience. So yeah, but shame. But 8.9%. Let's do it.
Just smash it back. Why not?
Exactly. If you can't enjoy the flavour, just enjoy the alcohol content.
Good. Yes, smash that one back. I'll smash this one back. And we'll move into then our topic for the episode. We'll talk about the games that we are looking forward to this year. Adam, I will come back to you first as well to lead us in. I know you didn't have a huge amount of notice joining us, or agreeing to join us sort of quite late. But is there anything you're looking forward to next year?
Yeah, well, that's why I had the excellent opportunity to go through Wikipedia.
Oh yes, yeah.
To make
Games
sure.
Radar usually have a really comprehensive list. That's where I looked earlier.
I probably should have done that as well. They probably have a neater list compared to scrolling through the Wikipedia page. But yeah, I picked out a couple. I think some of these I'm probably not going to play this year, even though I'm looking forward to them. Because I don't have a PlayStation 5 yet, and I'm not sure when I'm going to get one.
What are the PlayStation 5 exclusive games though? Because aren't they coming to PS4? A few of them?
I can't remember.
Some of them, yes. I mean, like Horizon, it's on my list. Horizon is coming to PS4. I think Gran Turismo 7 is coming to PS4 as well. But I don't know any further than that.
What else have they? I think God of War is as well.
Yeah, God of War Ragnarok. That's supposed to be this year, but I don't know if it's coming to PS4.
True.
Again, it's on my list with a little star next to it. Like, is it this year? Probably not.
But there's also the some of these are clearly much more. These are PS5 games. They've ported back a little bit, if you know what I mean. We're in that kind of phase now.
Tech, probably.
Yeah.
When's Horizon out? Is it this
February.
fall or something? February.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it was that soon. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it had a
I'm going to be
date.
able to get a PlayStation.
I'm gonna be doing a lot of work in January to just fucking rake in the cash and try and find one before Horizon comes out.
That's a good idea because I mean, the first game ran pretty well on PS4, so
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you want to play it on PS5, like that's probably the
you want to have the best experience, but
yeah, absolutely.
I also want to experience it. So we'll see. You know, I'll probably wait till the reviews of it come out as well, because they'll be quite telling. Because a lot of them will be like, we also checked the PS4 version and don't bother. Or they'll be like, oh, it runs great. It's just slightly lower fidelity.
Yeah.
You go, well, that's kind of what you expect. Yeah, no, that takes a few off the list. The first one was that comes out at the end of this month. Actually, is Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Oh, is that early as well?
Is that the open world-ish one? Is that the new one? Not a remake or
Yes.
Yeah, it's the new one, but it's going to the past in the region that they did the remakes of. What? It's the Sinnoh region, am I right?
I don't even know what region yellow is, and that's the only one I bought. I didn't know they had
the first
regions.
region, mate.
Yeah.
What's the British region one that they did recently? What's that called?
Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
What's
the British region? Is it or is it literally called the British region?
Excelsior or something like that.
Yeah, probably.
It's a one company state anyway. That's
aren't they all?
I mean, Sword and Shield is really odd in that regard because it's so blatantly dystopian and in a way that the other ones are sort of, because you go to the Poke Center and it's Nurse Joy and it's the exact same because that's just how they had to make the games, and it's sort of there's sort of weirdness to them, but it's so blatant in Sword and Shield that you just sort of go, and it presents it in this, isn't it all great that all this stuff happens? You're like, no, none of this is good. Like I literally don't. I care for any of this. It's so strange. But Arceus is leaning more into the open worldness stuff, and you can sneak up on Pokemon and throw your Pokeballs at them and stuff. And again, it's another one of those
bees in Metal Gear.
It's another
all kinds of animals in Metal Gear.
Is it Metal Gear, Metal Breath of the Wild Pokemon?
It's another one of those, the Game Freak are quite conservative in a lot of regards with how they design these games, because they're trapped in where they sell millions and millions of copies and rake in huge amounts of cash. But
that's the thing,
they're trapped.
Yeah,
I think they could change up the formula though, because everyone's like, don't change the formula because people will still buy it. But I think people will still buy it even if they made I don't know, Kentucky Route Zero, and people would still buy it. So what, you have all that cash, why not? Surely the developers themselves probably want it. Evolve and reiterate. So.
Well, that's why I'm more interested in this one, because they're doing the kind of middle step of their sort of splitting off into, a sub series. It's not really a mainline game because because it's Pokemon Legends.
That's even more disappointing, because they're just probably gonna be like, I'll just switch back to the old formula that has worked for the last 25 years or whatever.
Quite possibly, but. This one is leaning towards some of the stuff that I want them to do a bit more, and I'm hoping that it'll succeed and people will love it and they'll go, right, now we can turn around to the pencil pushers and the money men and go, this is what we're doing, suck it up. Hopefully.
I hope so.
I live in hope. False hope, but I live in hope.
I'd love to, enjoy another Pokemon game, actually get back to it, other than Pokemon stuff.
Despite the really horrific dystopia of Sword and Shield, some of the stuff in the game is, with the open world sections and stuff, is quite good. It's just too limited. You experience it for the first time, this is great, and then 5 minutes after you go, I want so much more than this. So you've finally given me a taste of the thing that I've dreamed of since I was 4 and gone, now give me the anime, the game. Which is kind of where I want to go. I want to just go off roaming with a Pokemon and some Pokeballs in my pocket and go exploring.
It's always what it could be, because they must be one of the most cash-rich developers in the world, and you're just thinking, you have so much potential.
That's why I understand a little bit of you would worry about doing anything too drastic and throwing it all away and then being the people who ruined it. 5 years time they'd be up and go, whatever happened to the people in charge of Game Freak, and you see them living under a skip. You know, being interviewed by people from Polygon, go, so what happened to like when we got 2D?
I don't think that would ever happen though. It's such an establishment though that it's like you can't see Pokemon. It's like you can't see Disney just like stop being now. You know, it's like one of the richest, most known entertainment products. It's like, okay, the game flopped. We sold only 7 million copies on Switch. Just release. Where's Ryan Reynolds? Release another film. You know. That's all I need to do.
Yeah, but I think it comes down to like IP ownership, right? If Game Freak own Pokemon, the IP, to make games for, fine. If they don't, and it's a Nintendo-owned property, and they really fuck it, any game studio, right? Any game studio, maybe unless your first party is just one bad sale away from just going. And I don't know, a Game Freak first party Nintendo.
No, I think both of them
Pokemon company, but I believe
they both own a stake in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Nintendo own a stake in them.
Yeah.
I think Pokemon company probably has the majority.
So they're probably safe in that regard.
They are.
If it
they're
is
absolutely
a bit of a
safe.
dud,
Yeah. They just release it on Xbox, put it on Game Pass, you know? The Game Pass region. And it's just like, it's frustrating. Like, I don't give a crap about Pokemon. I haven't for 25 years. But I'm frustrated for the fans of that series. We just want something, just want a little bit more. Here's a breadcrumb every 5 years. And it's like, they could be doing so much more with that entity, with that franchise, on the game space. I'm not speaking about the rest of whatever they do. But,
well, all the anime and stuff like that seems to, rake it in still, and all the toys and whatever else.
That's a frustrating part of it.
Of course,
you got all this money.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated for you, Adam, and I hope it's good. I hope it's good. Otherwise, I'll be there. I'll just pretend to be one of those toxic Pokemon fans and say, Game Freak, you're lazy developers.
I'll finally boot up my Switch again and start it and go, oh no.
It runs at 2 frames a second.
Hopefully not. That's the other side. The hardware definitely holds them back in a lot of regards with that stuff.
But look at Breath of the Wild, man.
It was especially noticeable with Sword and Shield.
But look at Breath of the Wild.
Empty though, isn't it? Breath of the Wild, empty.
It has a lot of shrines.
A lot of Kokoro seeds.
It sure has a lot of hills.
It's like 700.
The far distant background. It's not rendering properly.
The open world in that game, I mean, that's the thing. It's like you scratch away at anything and you realise the inner workings of it and everything like that.
Yeah.
But you get so much mileage out of that open world for the first time playing it. It's just, you can absolutely get that out of a Pokemon game. An RPG that lasts, like, say, I don't know how long they are, like 40 hours?
Depends whether you mainline them or do they collect them all and all that
catch them all.
I think
as well as you can spend kind of 40 hours playing through it and finishing the story, or you could spend 400,000 hours doing every single possible thing in it.
I've captured every Pokemon there is. New game.
Ooh, I added 3 more new ones. You're like, oh fuck.
So maybe not excited for it, but like, optimism for the next Pokemon.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not hard to find out, I guess.
I'm excited to see it because I haven't been disappointed by it yet.
The
start 2022 is a mean to go on. Full of false hope, fully expected to be crushed again. We'll see. We'll come back to it once I've actually played it, and hopefully I'll have good things to report.
Hopefully, yeah. I'm excited for you and Francis.
Have you got anything else on your list?
Oh yeah. I went through and just had a wrote down a few,
Mhm.
even some that. The next one is Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires, which is February.
Okay,
It's already out in Japan, but
Alright.
of course.
Did he get
And
good reviews in Japan?
it's mixed.
Oh.
A lot of people seem to be quite happy with the, like the kind of core gameplay, but are not so pleased with it being quite stripped back compared to previous Empires versions. But I'm hoping that at the very least I'll actually play more than a couple of hours of this one.
Yeah.
Because 9 I bounced off of super hard, so I'm hoping that I'm hoping I'll find some stuff in there that I can latch onto and go, I can be positive about the future of the franchise again.
Which dynasty is this one about?
It's the Three Kingdoms.
The same
China.
dynasty, Lucy.
Yeah.
It's always the same
There's
dynasty.
only one.
Samurai Warriors is about Japanese dynasties. So, it's just very different. Very different.
Could we do a different Chinese dynasty? No. Let's move countries completely.
I want one of the Canadian dynasty, just so that we can make Aadil play it. And be like, is this accurate?
No, I don't have an awful lot to say about it. Just
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. What's
I've
next?
been of the series for a long time, so I'm hoping that one's going to be at least an improvement.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to play this one, but it's on the list anyway because I'm a fan of Total War. So Total War Warhammer 3 is coming out.
Oh, yeah.
They're finishing off their trilogy of Warhammerness. Total Warhammering. And I hear nothing but good things about all of them.
The first game was great. That's the only one I've played, but yeah.
Yeah. The first one was good. The second one taking that to a whole other level, especially with all of the expansions and DLC and stuff that's came out since, and the updates and how they've built across it. So I'm really curious to see how the third one goes as well.
I think they're all tied together as well, right? Like the first game was like this region of the world. The second game was then adding extra bits, and the third game will do more in that you can cover the whole world. The Warhammer world. Everything can be then played.
Yeah. Well, I know in the second one they have, it has like the campaign that's set up for the second ones, and then they have like what's called like Mortal Empires, I think it's called, which
Right.
basically has everything from the first one all in a big grand map with everything from the second one, so it's all together.
Yes.
Like what you're talking about. And then obviously for the third one they've added in like areas that haven't really been covered before. There's stuff like the Grand Cathay, which is stuff that's in the lore for Warhammer, but it's never been really fully fleshed
They
out.
don't
There's
have
no,
a
like,
They don't have a
there's
full
no, like,
army of
book
plastic
or-
miniatures for those guys. Yeah.
So they've been basically working with Games Workshop to create a lot of that stuff, which is very interesting. It's a big step forward. They've obviously built up the trust over the first two games that they've been allowed to have that kind of level of, well, yeah, you can help us build a whole army for Warhammer. That's and there's some other stuff. So I'm interested to see, because a lot of the stuff from Warhammer fed into Total War Three Kingdoms again, about the Three Kingdoms in China that I absolutely loved, and I'm interested to see how this goes and whether they keep on their pretty good winning run streak for most of that stuff, and see what bits and pieces people pick out for what will maybe carry forward into whatever their sequel to the Three Kingdoms is going to be, that's very vague and weird and odd because of how they left that, which I'm still bitter about. Bitter until they tell me what they're actually doing so I can be excited again. Because they left it in a weird place. But I'm interested just to see what happens, and then hopefully maybe next year or the year after they'll do a trilogy pack or something, and I'll pack all of them up in one go and play the complete Warhammer.
Yeah.
Warhammer.
You'd imagine so that after when the third one has been out for you know, a little bit of time that they'll put all 3 in a big bundle.
Yeah, that's my hope, because it's one of those that I get more and more tempted every time I hear people like on like 3 moves ahead or that talking about it, and you go, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never been a Warhammer guy, but I could be. I could be a total Warhammer guy.
It's so expensive.
Yeah, that's why I want to play the video game version, where I don't need to do anything. Because it's one of those you go, you could, but you have to paint them yourself. I'm like, I'm out.
You need that Henry Cavill money, that Superman
That's very
money.
true.
Yeah, I'm sure he has an army of people painting them for him, and they just like,
Oh,
you can do this one, Henry.
He definitely paints them himself.
Oh yeah, he'll paint like the.
I can
the
just
general.
imagine him and his like huge body and huge hands, just
Tiny little
smearing the paint.
Yeah, next to the PCE built himself. Just like, this is going to be the best general.
I'll just buy another one, it's fine.
Yeah. Anything else on the list, Adam?
Yeah, I've got Forspoken.
Oh yeah,
which,
nice.
Again, I don't really know an awful lot about the game, apart from we've seen there's a couple of trailers or whatever it's been.
Yeah, I
I've
don't
gone,
think anyone knows much about it.
Cool enough.
I know zero. So, what is this?
It's Square Enix action RPG.
Is it the actual name, the working title for The Quiet Man 2?
No, because it's a lady. The protagonist is a black lady. And there was a little bit, I seem to remember, a bit of a disaster interview that Square Enix came out and said, "Hey, we've done this to the character," and everyone's like, "That's just fucking racist." They're like, we've given, I think they said something like.
Was it something lost in translation, or was it...
I don't know. Potentially, but they're like, yeah, we made her whiter. Like the first black protagonist we've had. No, I think they just used all of the wrong fucking words. They were like, yeah, we've given her like swagger. We've made her fucking, like jive.
We made her ghetto.
And you're just like, I
don't want to read this.
No,
I really hope
these are the wrong things to
just
do.
Really done them dirty on that.
I want to read this.
Find it, Lucy. Find it. It does exist on the internet. There's articles.
Man, I'm gonna track that down after that. Sounds hilarious.
But Forspoken looks good. It looks similar to that big Epic the Unreal Engine sort of demo that Epic put out.
Is it an adventure game?
It's kind of. I suppose it's more of a platformy kind of thing.
Oh. It's not a Final Fantasy.
Again, no one knows. I mean, it could be. Swear it. Of course, it could be.
Yeah, it's definitely an action game, but
yeah,
I'm not 100% sure on whether it's more action RPG or whether it's more action platformer. A mix of all of that could be quite good, because again, it does look quite good from the trailers that they put out. So again, that's one of those. Again, hopefully we'll get a bit more information about it, because that's another one of those that the trailers dropped and then and it comes out in like June or whatever, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Are you insane? Like, there's no way you've made that game already. Like, yeah, it's practically done. Like, no.
In July. It's not ringing a bell.
I mean, again, if Square Enix are leaning into what they've been talking about in the president's kind of start of year or end of year letter that he put out, it's being made by everybody else, so it doesn't matter.
NFTs. It looks a bit Devil May Cry-ish. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not that. There's a lot of these kind of games coming out which are a bit more of this kind of open world action with a little bit more of a platformy kind of a vibe to them. There was another one where
is this the trend we're getting for next gen?
Absolutely, it is.
Is this Rise?
Particles everywhere. There was another game where there was someone who I can't remember whether they changed. They had lots of like swords around them, right? Super Final Fantasy. It's not a Final Fantasy game, but they had loads of swords around them, and the sword was like spiking up in different areas onto different characters, and there was lots of platformy sort of sections to it. And it's not Forspoken. I can't remember what that game is called.
Is that the Platinum one?
It might be the Platinum one.
Because that's also on the list, because again, it's Platinum. what they do is always relatively interesting to see.
You're just nuts.
Yeah, just again one of those. I'll wait for reviews to drop and see if it lives up to what they've shown off about it, because I can't remember there's two platinum teams. There's the good team, and then there's the
the other team.
We lost control of this somewhere, and I'm not sure where. Team on platinum, and it's not always the same team, from what I gather. I can't remember like which
project
one this is going to be. So, yeah.
Okay. Who wants to play Black People Stereotype Bingo?
Oh god.
In an interview or something, they described her as being very angry. On the verge of prison.
Oh god.
Very hip hoppy kind of walk.
Yes, that's yes.
Frame it.
On the verge of prison, Jesus Christ.
That's brilliant. Maybe you just shouldn't have bothered.
Yeah. I mean, you have to scratch that one off the list if it's that bad. Yeah. Another one for the...
I don't know if that's worse than the NFT comments, though. That's what I don't know which is worse. I don't know which is worse for humanity.
The NFTs are worse because they're new. I'm just gonna...
Yeah. They probably
I'm gonna give them
the environment more.
The freshness bonus of being an irritant is quite new.
Yep. Yeah. Racism is ingrained into Square Enix for years, obviously.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Quiet Man is something else. Yeah, this is just like maybe you could even maybe like just push it into that like microaggression kind of like, even though no, it's just full on racist. But yeah, that's funny.
Stupid comments.
Right, we're running out of time this evening. Adam, round us out with a few more or one more game, whatever you've got.
Well, I'll throw two together. Baldur's Gate 3 and Crimson Desert. Baldur's Gate 3 is in early access just now.
Yep.
Again, hear nothing but good things about it, and think. And that's one of those I went, oh, well, I play in early access. What? No, I'll wait till they're done. And I'll enjoy it like on that level. Because, again, just hear nothing but good things about it. And Crimson Desert is just very intriguing because it's from the Black Desert MMO developers.
Yeah.
But it's just a straight RPG from them. And again, they've not shown very much of it. But what they have shown was enough that you go, looking forward to seeing more of that.
Nice.
So, and apparently it's coming out this year. I doubt it, but apparently it is.
It's one of those games.
We'll see. Yeah, it's one of those they've said this year, but they haven't really shown very much of it yet. So,
that's fair.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. Good. Lucy, we will jump to you. What highlights have you got for the year?
None.
Silksong doesn't exist, mate. It's gone. It
that's what I'm saying.
Doesn't exist.
I don't think Silksong exists, first of all, and it's. I think what I'm more excited about is the hardware that I've got pre-ordered that probably won't come till 2023 anyway. But like the Steam machine and the Playdate and stuff like that, because I was looking at the games this year, and I think what it's gonna be is like, I find out about a game, it gets put on Game Pass, or I play it on itch.io, or someone writes a blog about it saying this is really cool, and it just comes out of nowhere because like a lot of the big releases, because I looked at Game Radar's list, which is you know really comprehensive. They're really good, and I recommend those if you're looking to see what you're excited about. There wasn't a lot. I think the only, that Kirby game, I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. The open world Last of Us.
The Last of Us one, yeah.
Yeah. But the ones that I highlighted that are probably more known, other than just whatever's in my Steam wish list, some random indie that I can't even think about or people wouldn't know. Kirby, the Oxenfree 2. I'm looking forward to seeing what what that's about. That was a very like kind of not early indie game, but like that kind of wave of more, I guess, talky indie game. And it's just like, I wonder if this still holds up and see what they do for that. Metal Slug Tactics, that was one of the ones that
Nice.
I was looking forward to. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge side-scrolling beat 'em up, made by the same people who did the Streets of Rage 4. I was about to say 2 remake. Streets of Rage 4 game. Gosh, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That Stray game, that cat game, but that I look at that and it's like this may be a solid 7 out of 10. You know, it's like this might be. Everyone's excited about the cat, but it's just like
It's a cat.
it's just an alright. Yeah, it's just an alright. And then the next game in 5 years' time, which is about a dog, that's gonna be a 10 out of 10.
It's like Kena, isn't it? Like, yeah, good 7 out of 10 game. Next one they make is gonna be fucking brilliant.
Shadow the Colossus. Yeah, that's what they're gonna make next. Yeah. I hope they. I'm more of a cat person though, so they can have a cat game.
The goldfish game next. That's fine.
Yeah.
The cat.
That oh gosh, I just thought about it now. The card game made by the action card game made by the person who made Donut County. I can't remember the name of that game. Hold on, let me quickly Google. Just thought of that. Ben Espacey. The card game that is like it's like a turn-based card game, but each card plays like a action in this like first-person world.
Who's Donut County? Ben Esposito.
Ben Esposito, yeah. So, where is this game? Just tell me the name of the game. His last game is
Dreamt it.
Well,
I'm sure you sent out like who we've in our group like this is who wants to register interest for this. So
Have we?
I'm sure you did.
Is it an Annapurna game?
Yes. I don't know what it's called. Why can't someone just tell me what it's called? It doesn't matter. The game from the Donut County guy, card game, FPS. F knows what it's called. That bothers me. Why can't I just Google it and it just comes up? Anyway, that game, and other than that, yeah. The Somerville, that's the one from the Inside people, or one of the Inside founders, founders of, what is it, Playdead? Yeah. There's not much. There's not much.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's honestly not much. I know better to get excited about video games. I just wait for something to come out of the blue, like something like Inscription, where I knew about it, and it's like, oh, that's a game from Pony Island, dude. Cool. I will probably buy that and play that. And then it's like, forgot about it, and then just came back around and smacked you around the chops, and just like, yeah.
Speaking of coming out of the blue, I almost forgot one. Sonic Frontiers. The old Sonic of the Wilds.
Cut his mic. We haven't got time for this.
Open world Sonic sounds like fun.
I mean, they've just thrown out a very expensive Lego set, so if you really want to throw fucking Sega and Sonic some money, you can go over there.
That's another one of the. Even if it turns out to be absolutely dreadful, which, given Sonic's track record, is eminently more likely than it being good, it's going to be fascinating to see them showing it off and giving trailers and stuff, because if it is good, it's going to blow. It's just going to be.
It will never be good. I love Sonic as a child, and Sonic is one of those ones where it's like, I've never 180'd so much harder on a game in my entire life than Sonic, because Sonic was never good, and I really enjoyed Sonic as a kid. I loved it. I played more Sonic than Mario as a kid. I love Sonic, but Jesus Christ, is it bad? They're bad games.
That's fair.
This
That's
one
fair.
could be good. This could be the one that breaks the curse.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. There is a first-person Annapurna game coming out loosely called Skin Deep by Blendo. Who did Quadrilateral Cowboy.
Oh yeah, that looks weird.
Yeah, it does look weird, but I don't think that's the game. And if
No.
you go on Ben Esposito's website, there's
doesn't
no
say what
future
it
games.
is.
No, absolutely.
Did it get
so.
cancelled? Card game. Let me Google this. This is
Oh,
really
is it neon? Is it neon white?
I think
Is
that
Ben
sounds familiar.
Esposito doing neon white?
That sounds familiar.
Which
Let's
is
call
it is a
Neon
card,
White.
which is a card game, but it's
Yes.
more of a. Is it like a visual novel sort of style?
Yes,
One.
I've just gone on Twitter. Yeah, Neon White. Yeah, like turn-based kind of FPS game. Yeah. Neon White.
There you go, neon white.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Perfect.
We got there.
We did get there. Just, I've got a big list of games. I'll just throw them all out there, and if there's one that either of you want to talk about, we'll delve into it for a couple of minutes as well. But some of these are repeated as well. The first one's Horizon and a PlayStation 5. Hopefully, if I can find one before Horizon comes out.
Shall I just register for you?
I mean, I've registered, mate. I've registered on all of the places, and then Game is like, hey, you can have a PlayStation 5, but bundled in with all of this other shit that you don't want for £5,000. Like, no, thank you.
Just buy the racing wheel. When Gran Turismo comes out in 60 years, I'm sure it'll still be compatible. And you won't need 8 dongles.
That's me in graphics cards. Every time I look, I go, oh, there's one in stock, and I go, and then I check their RRP, and I go, fuck it. Like, is that? You start to get tricked.
Is that legal?
Yeah.
That's 1 digit less than normal.
But I mean,
No,
graphics cards are a fucking market into themselves, aren't they? Because there's like a graphics card, and they're like, but we'll allow these 5,000 companies to say, is this graphics card X or Y or A or whatever, and these ones have just decided it's fucking 1,200 quid. Brilliant. So now everyone's fucking decided it's
Wait, we added
100 quid.
0.1 of a gigahertz to the clock speed.
Fucking it's
That'll be
nuts.
50
And
quid.
yeah, we've overclocked it slightly, so suddenly it's twice the price. Anyway.
Well, the Founders Edition has 2 fans, but ours has 3.
So my list, I'll roll through very quickly. Dying Light 2. Coming out very soon. Very, very interested in that.
Has that got a date? Sorry.
Yes.
I know they had
February. Marvel Midnight Suns, the Fire Axis kind of XCOM-like, but card-based Marvel strategy game. Plague Tale Requiem. I loved Plague Tale Innocence.
Yes.
A brilliant game. So looking forward to the sequel. Far Changing Tides. Again, a sequel to Far Lone Sails. Potentially a sequel, but same
was on
kind
my
of
list,
tone.
yeah.
Looks brilliant. Oxenfree 2. Somerville as well. Trek to Yomi, which is the Devolver more Kurosawa-based black and white samurai kind of game. Lots of kind of like 2D movement in the actual gameplay.
good.
Looks really good.
Very stylistic. Yeah.
The next one's The Garden Path, which is a game I backed on Kickstarter. I can't remember the developer's name, but Bristol-based. So just down the road somewhere in the city centre. But again, a much more chilled experience. You're a character walking around an environment, cultivating the land, essentially. So something that's a little bit more kind of chilled.
Style.
Yeah. All hand drawn, I believe, as well, which is why it will probably take 5,000 years to actually release. So I don't know whether it will be this year or not. Something we touched on last year, Star Trek Resurgence, which is that narrative style Star Trek game. You know, we joked about it with Lauren last year at some point. I don't think it's not a Telltale game, but it's like that style. And it's a Star Trek game. That's what I want.
It's up your alley, yeah.
Say that again, Adam.
Did Telltale not announce one of those as well? Is that
That was The Expanse, the worst.
Yes, so Telltale are doing The Expanse, and there's another studio doing a Star Trek game.
It's ex-Telltale developers.
Yes,
from before
potentially,
it went bust,
but it
right,
does
yeah.
it does have a very bad Spock voiceover in the trailer. Ignore that. It's more Star Trek. It's narrative Star Trek. I'd have loved it to have been set on Deep Space Nine.
Yeah,
And you're just like a Darbo girl, and you've got to fucking navigate life on Deep
Yeah,
Space Nine. That's never
You
going to
just
happen.
need to be glad that your narrative game's not being made by David Cage, so you're fine.
I wonder why none of us said we were excited for that.
Let's look down my list. No, it's not there.
That's the one I went 180 on super hard. The hardest I've ever 180'd in a space of a trailer.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, this is intriguing. I wonder what this could be. And then
But the thing is, I knew it was the
Splash
David
came up
Cage
and I went,
game.
I'm like,
Yeah.
no! You ruined it.
I want that Amy Hennig one instead. Fuck all these other games. Anyway, Stray is on my list. Hellblade 2, Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade 2, whatever that one's going to be, potentially out this year. So the next few games, Hellblade 2, God of War Ragnarok, are potential this year that I'm excited for. I did put down, and it ain't going to be this year, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. I want that. I want it. But who knows?
I didn't know it was
That's not going to be
2027.
this decade.
Yeah, this decade exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't. Again, I think it's got a date for next year, but I'm not sure. But Read Only Memories Neurodriver is Neurodiver, not driver.
Yeah.
Neurodiver is coming out, and I've really liked. Is it 2064 Read Only Memories? Really good game. So I'm looking forward to something else within that sort of narrative, within that world. So
Thank you for reminding me, because I have that on PC, but I bought it on Switch when it was like dirt cheap. So I might play that soon.
do it. It's really good.
Yeah, looks it.
So I mean, would any of you like any further thoughts on any of those? That's kind of my list of things that may or may not come out.
No,
this
not
year.
crossover.
I've forgotten half of them already because you rattled through them so fast. I'm sorry, Ben, that you didn't get a chance to delve into them properly.
I'll
think
talk
a lot of
about
them are known
when they come
quantities,
out.
though. Yeah, I think a lot of them
That's
are.
probably wise, yeah.
It's either a lot of the. There's no middle ground. We're at that point where it's like, okay, we've got the game in form of cover, other than like Horizon. It's like the even known quantities. It's like we know what Horizon's going to be. We know what God of War's going to be. Or there's just like we have no idea what this game's going to be. You know, it's like Somerville or the Garden Path.
Yeah,
know? It's like a bit too early to tell.
With a lot of them, yes.
place.
Yeah, and everyone's delayed everything because of COVID as well. So
Yeah.
we have even less information than we usually we have too much.
Yeah,
we spent like a decade complaining that they keep putting out 50,000 trailers, and I'm fed up of constantly being barraged by this stuff. And they were like, "Are you making games still, guys? Anyone?"
That's exactly what it is. Yeah, I'm glad we're in that place where it's like something can just come out of the blue, and it's
very eerie, but I do kind of like it because they go, "Oh, this game's coming out in July," and you go, "Is it?" What?
Yeah,
no one's announcing anything because they're too busy putting NFTs in their game.
Oh god.
You might have, you probably noticed there's no Ubisoft on my list. I mean, who even knows what they're doing these days? I don't think they even make games anymore. They've just decided they're going
to Beyond Good and Evil and Joseph Gordon-Levitt just to say, you can make art for the game for NFTs.
Yes. They leaned into it heavy, right? They're like, hey, make this game for us. And we're like, good. Now we're in this, whatever what was that fucking absurd term that the Square Enix president threw out? Something like
pay to contribute. Or
pay to contribute. Play to
contribute.
contribute. Yeah. That's it.
I know some people play to have fun.
Who does that? That's ridiculous.
I know.
I play for.
When I saw that quote, I thought, I want to fucking strangle you.
Self-flagellation. That's why I play Blasphemous.
That's why people play Dark Souls, isn't it? They just love being spanked by monsters.
Everyone who plays Dark Souls, Dark Souls. I'm being Square Enix now.
Oh god.
Yeah, they hate themselves.
If you have time, James Stephanie Stirling put out a recent video, kind of not quite a rebuttal, but breaking down this letter that the Square Enix president put out about the future, about blockchain and NFTs, and the future of how they may look at making games and funding their divisions and AI and what they're kind of going into. But it's,
so if you instead of Bitcoin farms, we can have people mine gold like they did in World of Warcraft.
Exactly. But
it's one of those kind of things.
It's if you are in a YouTube mood and you've got like an hour, right? Watch that and then go over to People Make Games and look at the few videos they put out about Roblox. And how the development cycle works in that game, which is a game of games, like Dreams. It's a platform where people make games on and stuff like this.
Yeah, the People Make Games stuff for Roblox is on my list, because I seen Chris Pratt on Twitter talking about how they get leaned on pretty heavily to pull all their videos for it.
Yeah, completely.
I can't remember if it was before they published them or after.
No, so Quentin Smith, who puts out who does videos for those guys, he put out the first video. Roblox basically told them or asked them to pull the video, and there again, if you go into People Make Games' page and you're looking at any of these videos, they will always list where all of this stuff is, right? So in the video description, and they have an unlisted video where they do have a rebuttal to their video that was put out by by someone, a Roblox creator, that the corporation that make Roblox pointed People Make Games to tell them that they were wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like a blog post on someone's website rather than like a corporate thing. So there's layers upon layers upon layers of just joy with all of this. So it's if you've got a lovely sort of hour where you just fancy the game industry being shit, then do that. Go to James Stephanie Stirling, go to People Make Games, and just revel in the fucking debauchery.
To go on
exactly.
Being fully aware of how shit everything is.
And then go over to Kickstarter and look at cool games and back cool indie games, and go to itch.io and look at cool stuff being made by people instead, rather than these big corporations just fucking all of us.
That's the thing, is someone who's been like just completely bored of like everything AAA for the last several years, and it's an outlier if something in that space interests me in the slightest. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Hopefully it all just, like, collapses, like in the 80s, and then we just have cool indie games and nothing else.
That's it. THQ instantly just gone.
No,
they've made this big comeback, just gone. Straight away.
They're still around, Ben. They're the cockroaches of the game industry. They'll be around forever. It's fine.
Yeah, because they're not AAA, remember. They're just A.
Double A.
Yeah, not even double A. Just B. Yeah. C. They're somewhere in the alphabet. Who knows?
So
good.
They're in double A because they've had to go past Z.
That was brilliant.
They've rolled through all the letters too many times. Perfect. So they are the games that the three of us are looking forward to this year. Whether any of them come out this year, who knows?
Just very small aside, I don't have like gaming like resolutions, but one of my resolutions for the year is like to start going through like my itch.io, like you can make playlists on there or like folders, and it's just like I have like 200 games where it's like to play, and it's like I want to get through at least one a week, because
nice.
That's where so much creative stuff is done. So yeah.
Absolutely, and tons and tons of small experiences as well, whether they're sort of demos that have gone on to become kind of bigger games or bigger experiences, or are kind of in the works. You get loads of little tasters on each of what people are able to make.
Few years, like I'm sure we've had an itch.io game in like one of our top 10s, like between me and
yes, Deconstruct Team must have featured somewhere in the last few years.
The what was it? Behind a something one was in.
Yeah, Behind Every Great One.
Yeah, that was your top 10 one,
Yeah.
So yeah. The Sock Pop was in mine last year's.
Good.
Yeah.
So there's tons of places for everybody to go and look at cool stuff. They've been the games that we are looking forward to this year. Lucy, have you got any final thoughts on your beers for this week?
Yeah.
I like it.
You know which one is
an easy lead.
Which one's mine, yeah. I can't really judge the Left Hand Brewing one too much. I've had beers from them before, and they've been. I think I had one that was like I think it might have had a beaver on the can. It was like a stout. It was like another milk stout that I had one Christmas. That was really nice. But yeah, I can't really judge it too harshly because, maybe I didn't look at when it was brewed and bought a pretty old can. Don't think it survived the journey that well, but whatever. But yeah, the Limestone one is really good. So it's like
nice.
Might have edged it out anyway. So just like a really good traditional English ale. Like the hops, those fresh hops, like really come through, and it's like. Yes, like people should be using more English hops because we have good hops over here, and that definitely showcases them. And yeah, very malty, very bitter, just very old school. And it's like that's the way I'm going nowadays. So, and yeah, I've got 2 more of these, and I could wait till the next couple of weeks, but you know what? I'm excited. I'm genuinely excited to try them because. Yeah, because it's really good. A great way to start off like the year because that's probably what I'm going to be leaning into more this year.
Yeah,
that's the kind of beer that I miss, like not going to pubs and stuff like that. Never thought I'd say it. I miss like old traditional English ales. Really good.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going.
I mean, it's close enough. Like, might be one on my bucket list. My gradually increasing bucket list. I need to visit this brewery, which is, already very long, but Staffordshire, very close.
Yeah, it's not that far away.
Yeah,
it's a day trip.
So, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
I just shouldn't
drive.
Or a 2-day
trip after you've had a couple of pints. So.
How easy is it to get to on the train?
Probably
expensive,
very easy.
But very easy.
No problem. Yeah. The only problem, yeah.
Nice.
Hey, I've done a day trip to Cheltenham to go to Daya, so in the car, have a pint. Hopefully, no police are listening, and then just driving that. So I've done it.
It's fine. It's 1 unit. It's about a pint these days, isn't it? I'm going to go with the Wiper and True, the Amber Ale, Murmurations, the ginger. New England IPA was just too ginger dominated. I think it wasn't quite balanced enough. This Wiper and True, however, is an absolute beauty of a beer. The depth of flavour from it is fantastic. It's got so much going on, and yet it can be like here, and showcase all of these different notes that it wants to kind of pull out. Wiper and True just know how to make fantastic beer and show you everything that goes into it. Whether it's a single hop kind of beer and they just want to showcase just that flavour, or they're looking at making something like this kind of amber ale and they're like, we want all of these different parts to come out to you. They're very good at doing that. So the Murmurations, which I think is a better beer than the previous amber ale, or the previous beer where they had the balloon on the front, which was some kind of like bready beer. But this Murmurations is really, really good and an absolutely strong recommendation.
I didn't know Murmuration was a real word.
I mean, is it?
Yeah.
Beers are just beer. Beer names are just whatever they want these days, aren't they? You could call your beer IPA, and no one would know any different, would they? So
when like birds are flocking, that's what it means.
Oh,
just like okay.
Murmurations of birds.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
In fear of the balloon on the front, is that? what they're going for.
Yeah, potentially. There's no birds, but potentially flight. Slightly related, I guess.
Tangential, but
Do you want to
okay.
be in a balloon that's having murmurations?
Probably not, actually.
All these other balloons, thousands of balloons just flying all over the place. Scared shitless. Good. If you would like to talk to us about the games that you are looking forward to, or the beers that you've been drinking, you can do so at TankedUpCast on pretty much all of the socials. I'm at Nova_47 if you want to chat to me, play some games with me. Lucy is...
Juicy Loose 9, literally everywhere.
Perfect. Adam is...
At Snack. That's APT Snack.
And if you want to bother Aadil whilst he's in Canada, hanging out with his family, he's at the Omniarch. You probably should. Just tell him that you miss him. You'd like to see him on the next episode. Even though he probably won't be on for about a month, roughly. Something like that. He might even miss episode 300, which is coming up, and we have absolutely zero plans for, so be prepared for whatever that's going to be in a few weeks' time. Next week, though, I believe, if he's still available, we've got Lucy mentioned earlier, Points of Brew, Stephen coming on the episode to chat to us and join us for an episode, so he will be here next week. I think it's next week. I think that's the date we put in. Who knows? Planning, as you understand, dear listener, is not our forte. But they've been the beers, they've been the games that we're looking forward to, and the games that we have been playing. We will see you very, very soon. Thank you for joining us. We've been Tanked Up. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Or ciao.
Ciao.
www.outoflives.net